and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, Very Special, and its coordinating dies. So let's go ahead and check it out. This set has our adorable mice on new adventures in a strawberry patch, and this first little guy in his overalls, he is so cute. We have a mouse holding a bunch of strawberries and then a mouse who has taken a bite out of the strawberry. Next up, we have this really long little strawberry patch image that I love, a cluster of strawberries, and of course a cute little strawberry fruit basket. Then we have a little cupcake with a strawberry on top and an individual strawberry as well. And we have a jam jar and a little sign that says jam that you can layer on the jar or not. We have an adorable little bee to help set the scene and a little trail for him as well. We also have this fun little sign, and we have a little heart and flower too that you can either add to the jar, add to the sign, help decorate your scene, or you can use these words to add to the sign. So we have berry patch, you're berry sweet, thanks so very much, and pick your own. We also have three other little tiny words. We have yum, which is really cute with the little guy eating the strawberry, and burp, which is even cuter with the little guy eating the strawberry. And we also have a little bzz for the bee. There's a smiley face that you can add to the sign or the jam jar. And then we have some great sentiments. So we have a happy birthday, thank you, you're totally my jam, you are special, I pick you, and we also have a so much that you can add to the phrase thank you. And then we have this really cute little berry. And so you can add this in between the different words of this. So you can say you are very special, or thank you so very much. Or in this case, we're going to stamp it in there. It says have a very happy birthday. And I think that's just so adorable. I love the little kind of just insert of the word berry. It's really fun, cute, and punny. Next, we're going to use our Copic markers to color in these adorable images. And oh my goodness, I love these mice so much. And one of my favorite things is that you can mix and match all of the mice from our different sets together. So you could bring mice from other sets into your Strawberry Patch themes, or take the strawberry mice and bring them into scenes with other mice that you may have in your collection. And I love that so much. Here you can see I'm adding some different shades of brown to the different mice. You can also do shades of gray too, and that looks really cute too. Here I did some E40s, I did some E30s on the other mice, so I like to just kind of mix and match them. Now here I am doing a red combo, and this red combo comes from my friend Jen Shirkus, and I had never mixed these markers together, and they're perfect for the strawberries. And that's R29 and R35. Somehow it just makes the perfect glowy, beautiful little strawberry. And then I'm going to add some green there to the chops of the little strawberries, and I'm going to be coloring in all of my strawberries in this same way so that they'll match. Another way that you can do the strawberries is you can bring in a lighter pink and kind of give them some lighter edges too, and that looks really pretty too, but I really wanted these to be nice, bold, bright red strawberries. Next up, we're going to be coloring that long strawberry patch piece, and this is one of my favorite stamps in the whole set because it really helps set the scene and makes for a really quick and easy card too, because you could just color in this, die cut it, and just add two little mice on either side and a sentiment, and it would be the most adorable, sweet, quick and easy card that's really easy to reproduce. So I love this larger image like that. And here you can see, just like we talked about before, we're adding in the R29, blending it out with the R35, and coloring all the strawberries in the same way, and it just has that perfect little glow. Now for the leaves, we're going to be coloring them in with these YGs, YG 09, 03, and 01. I like adding in that 01 because it kind of adds this little like neon green that makes them look really bright. And then with that darker marker, that G09, or really any dark green, I'm just adding in a little vein to the leaf. And you could add those in or not, but I thought it just looked really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in. Here you can see that I'm adding the darker areas of my markers kind of where the overlaps are, where the strawberry or leaves are overlapping each other, and then I'm blending it out medium and then to light. And then those little connector pieces of the strawberry, I'm kind of keeping it light towards the middle so it makes them look really nice and round. For the little flowers on there, I like to add a little bit of a warm gray marker to the white flowers just to make them pop. And you can see how as I add that marker, it makes them look almost three-dimensional, but still keeps that bright white, beautiful strawberry flower on there. Now for this little basket, I'm going to use some turquoise colors. I love that kind of turquoisey basket, that traditional little strawberry basket you get at the farmer's market. I thought this just looks so cute like that. And then for our little cupcake here, I'm going to color in the top of the cupcake there, kind of like like a little bread muffin kind of color, and then just add a little bit of detail with a warm gray marker, adding some little stripes to make it look like a cupcake wrapper. And then we'll use the same exact colors with the jam jar, but I brought in that lighter color because that was a really big area and I wanted to have more of a gradient. So I brought in the lighter color towards the top and then colored in the top of the jam jar in the same way as that basket, just to kind of have everything coordinate. And then for that little individual flower there, I did it the same way with the warm gray markers. And I love having the individual flower that you can cut and kind of layer around your strawberries. And then for the sign, I just went ahead and colored darker towards the outside and lighter towards the middle so that when I stamp my little phrase on the inside, it's going to be nice and bold on that lighter colored marker. These are the coordinating dies for the set, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. We're going to take those coordinating dies and line them up with our stamped images, hold them in place with some low-tack tape like washi tape, run it through the die cut machine, and we'll have beautifully, perfectly cut out images every time. And here is a look at all of the images from this set. They are so adorable and so much fun to mix and match. You can take that little label and put it on the jam jar and put the trio of strawberries into the little strawberry basket. That mouse there can hold the sign or the strawberry or the cupcake, which is so cute. You could also put a single strawberry into the basket as well. You can also layer these little guys all around the strawberry patch to help set the scene, and you could put the heart or the flower onto the jar label, and oh my goodness, the little heart is really cute on the sign too. Next up, we're going to create 3 different cards with this adorable set. But first up, I decided it would be fun to have my jam jars actually look like they were made out of glass. And we're going to use this brand new clear glaze to do that. I love this stuff so much. It comes in a tube really similar to our glue tube, so it's really easy to get in fine areas. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go all the way around the edge of the jam jar, and then I'm going to start filling it in. And you'll see that it's going to look a little opaque, not quite clear, but that's okay. It's going to dry clear when it's all done. I'm going to go ahead and fill in that whole jam jar, and I'm going to do 3 of them this way. And then I'm going to set them aside to dry. It takes a little while for them to dry, and that's why I'm doing this first before I create the rest of my card. And here you can see once they're all dry, how pretty is that? They look like really cute, tiny little glass jars. I think it's so much fun. It just adds a little extra special detail to this, and I love the clear glaze for that. So next I'm going to add some glue to the back of my little jam jar labels, and I'm going to lay those right on top. Oh my goodness, and look how cute they look when they're all done. I love these little jam jars so much. So now we're going to work on the background for the card. So this is the largest of the outside-in stitched rectangles, and we're going to die cut a white piece of cardstock, and we're going to be doing a really fun technique that Elena from our design team showed me how to do, and this is so cool, so fun, and so simple. So here I just have a piece of copy paper, just printer paper, and I'm going to lay it over the rectangle, and I am going to draw a random blob with my pencil. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to just be kind of blobby. You actually kind of want it to look imperfect because that's what's going to help kind of create this whole background for our scene. There you'll see as I drew it, I thought, there's a little too much of an indent there, so I just erased it and kind of fixed it. And I'm putting it in the center of my card, leaving a nice white border all of the way around. Next, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to follow along that line, and I'm just going to cut out that piece. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect along the line because no one's ever going to know exactly what blob you created. So we're just going to kind of create this blob and follow around. You'll see when I cut into the paper, I cut there with a nice straight line, and then I'm just going to cut all the way around the blob, and I'm going to hit that straight line. And now you'll see that we have a blob-shaped opening in our piece of paper, and then this just kind of cut right there. I'm just going to tape that right back together there with some Post-it note tape I had, Scotch tape, anything you have will work to just kind of secure that in place. I'm going to use that same Post-it note tape to tape my stitched rectangle down to my work surface, and then we're going to hold our faux stencil here, our copy paper, in place with some tape as well. Then I'm going to take out some merman ink, which is one of my favorite ink colors ever, and a blender brush, and we're just going to blend on really lightly some ink into this blobby shape. So I'm going really, really light, and because I'm going to be doing some stenciling over top that's going to be tone on tone. So I don't want this to be too dark. So I'm just going to go ahead ahead and blend, blend, blend. And then we're going to be taking out the Lots of Hearts stencil. And we came out with this stencil for Valentine's Day, but what I love about this stencil is it's just adorable hearts, so you can use it all year round, and we're going to use that right now. So you'll see I'm kind of moving around the stencil because I'm just seeing where the hearts are going to look the nicest in my little blobby shape. And once I found the perfect place, I'm just going to hold that stencil in place with some more Post-it note tape. Just kind of hold it right down onto that copy paper. And then here I'm going to ink with a much heavier hand. So that's because I'm using the exact same color ink. This is still the merman ink. I'm going to ink with a much heavier hand, and that way the hearts will be tone on tone and subtle, but you'll still be able to see them. So you'll see as I lift that up, you can really see those beautiful hearts there. And then now we're going to lift up this mask that we created, and you'll see that we have this really cool blob that's going to become the sky for our scene. And how cool does that look? Oh, I just love it so much. I just think this is such a fun way to create a sky on your card that's just a little bit different and still leaves some really beautiful white space all of the way around. And you'll see as we form the scene how cool it's going to look. So thank you so much, Elena, for this technique because I'm going to use it all of the time now. It's just a little bit of a different look than having your big sky area and your grass on the bottom. Now we've got this fun little white space around there and this cool little heart background. And right now I am using some little white drops. You could use Nouveau drops or these little Pico drops, and just adding some cute little white details to the sky. You could also flick on some white paint, and I think that would look really pretty too. And now we're going to put this into the MISTI to do some stamping. In my head, I thought, gosh, I should have done the stamping before I created this whole background. I'll probably do that next time, just in case I mess up my stamping. So I put it in the MISTI just to be safe, and then I'm going to stamp with some black licorice ink, and I was so happy because it turned out so nice. We stamped the Have a Happy Birthday, and then I'm going to throw that berry in there, so it says Have a Berry Happy Birthday, and I just think that's so cute, and it's going to go along with our strawberry theme. Next, we're going to take out a bunch of images from the Berry Special stamp set, and then we're going to be taking out some images from some other sets to mix and match with this. And first up, we're going to take out something from another brand new set called How You Bean Strawberries add-on. And these strawberries are perfect for our How You Bean jar, but there's also an individual strawberry that's larger that's really fun to mix and match with this Berry Special stamp set. So we're going to take out one of those larger strawberries, and then we're also going to take out another new set, which is You Goat This, and it has some grasses in it. And a lot of lawnfawn sets have little grasses or other little seam builders, so you could look through any of your sets and pull out some grasses. And this is our All the Clouds stamp set, which I love bringing in because it has lots of different sizes of clouds that are great for forming scenes, so I went ahead and stamped and colored some of those. And now we're adding some tape runner to the back of the longer strawberry patch image, and then I'm going to tuck in some of the other images behind there to kind of help build up a scene. And I really like doing this because it's a way to kind of mix and match and play with your images before they're actually attached down onto your card. So I'm just going to keep adding little piles of strawberries and just kind of building up the scene from the bottom of that strawberry patch image. And then I can take some foam squares and layer those on the back of that whole scene that we created, and then layer that onto the card. And you can see how cute that's looking with our blobby sky that we created at the beginning. Now we're going to start layering on some more of the images, and I'm adding some foam squares to the back of these as well, just to give them some fun pop. And here we're going to layer those beautiful jam jars that we created with that cool glassy look on them. We're going to layer those kind of in a big stack there, and then add in some of those cute little grasses that we took out of the goat stamp set. We're going to layer those in the background too, and this is just help filling in this whole scene. Now we'll take another one of those jars, and then we're going to add my favorite little mouse, which is the guy with the strawberry with the bite out of it. We're going to layer that onto the jam jar. I'm going to stamp Your Berry Sweet onto that sign, and then we're going to have the little mouse in the overalls hold that sign. And I thought that went really well with our Berry Happy Birthday with the Berry Sweet sentiment. Now I'm just layering in one of the individual flowers from the set, and also that cute little heart, which is just adorable. It's just a fun little perfect little extra image. And now we're going to layer the stuff for our scene. So I'm adding some tape runner to the clouds and layering those flat onto the scene so that the clouds are in the background and our little strawberry scene is in the foreground. And for an extra cute little look, we're going to add the bee from the Very Special stamp set onto there as well. And I've added that on there with some tape runner too, so that he's in the background of the whole scene. Next up, we trimmed down a piece of paper. This is from the Really Rainbow collection, and this green is perfect for the strawberries. And so cut that down to a standard size at 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to layer that onto a standard size card base. And then we're going to add some tape runner to the back of this whole scene that we worked on, and we're going to layer that right on there. And I can't tell you how much fun I had creating this card. The blobby background sky was so much fun, and creating my own mask, adding that glaze to the jam jars. Look how fun that is when it sparkles and shines. So much fun. These little mice are so cute, and I just love creating these strawberry scenes. It was so much fun to recreate that card by Elena, and now we're going to be recreating a card by Tammy, and this is a fun slimline card, and we're going to start off by creating a cool custom sentiment. But first up, we're going to do some ink blending. So we're going to be doing Worn Lipstick and Festive Berries ink, and we're going to add on some of the Worn Lipstick, which is the lighter pinky red color, onto our piece of white cardstock, and then we're going to build up some of the darker color there, which is the Festive Berries, towards the bottom, so that we have this nice ink blended background, which you can see there. Now we're using a brand new alphabet die. It's called Henry's ABCs. It's so cute and fun, and we're going to take out the letters of this, and we're going to die cut right over that fun kind of gradient ombre look that we created with the ink. And look how beautiful the letters turn out. And you could do this with any color, and it really adds a really fun look to die cut letters. For our background, we're going to die cut a scalloped slimline die out of some white cardstock, and we're going to create another gradient pink look on this card, and this is going to help match our letters. But in this case, we're going to bring in an even lighter colored pink with the spun sugar. So we're just using the Worn Lipstick and the spun sugar, and that darker red, the Festive Berries, we just added that to the letters so that the letters will be nice and bold. Now in this case, we're going to have the Worn Lipstick towards the bottom, and then the spun sugar towards the top, and that's actually going to fade out into nothing. So we're going to have it go really light towards the top so that that light pink becomes the white that's in the cardstock. And I think that's such a pretty and fun look. I also just love the idea of creating a pink sky. It's so springy, happy, and fun, and goes really well with the strawberries. Next up, to add some texture to the background, we're going to do some splatters. So we're going to smear some ink onto a block and then just spray a little bit of water on there. Then we'll take a paintbrush and we're going to mix that water with the ink to create kind of a little soupy mixture. Now here, you may notice those hands look a little bit different. Rebecca actually filmed this card, so thank you so much, Rebecca. And she did a really cool technique I've never tried before, and it looks really awesome. So instead of tapping the paintbrush itself, she's actually tapping the paintbrush on the side of the block. And that creates really subtle, really tiny little splatters, and it feels just a little bit more controlled. So if you're ever not too sure about splattering, this is a really good technique to try. It's so cool and so fun, and it's just kind of fun to tap the edge of the block. It's just a really cool way to do it, and it kind of keeps your mess contained too. So you'll see here that we're just going to keep tapping on the edge, creating this really beautiful background. Add a little more water to the block and just create a little bit more of a finer ink there that's got a little more water to it, and that's going to react with the ink blending that we did, and voila, look how pretty that is when it dries, and it really does feel like strawberries. Now for this card, we're going to take out the Berry Special Stamp Set, and we're going to be working with that long strawberry patch image that, oh, I just love it. It's one of my favorites. And one thing that's really great about them is that two of them fill up a slimline card really nicely. So we're going to lay two of them down there, and then to connect the two together, we're going to use our mice to do that. So we're going to add some foam squares to the back of these cute little mice images and layer that right in the middle. Now, as we started to layer these guys, it's like, which one looks good here? Kind of mixing and matching. So we're going to take the guy that has the three strawberries and kind of put him on the end, because the guy eating the strawberry in the middle is just kind of cute. Like he's just sitting in the middle there, just eating the strawberries. So he's going to be the one that connects the two strawberry patch images, and then we'll have the other two as kind of as anchors on the end. We're going to put that sign there and have it say Berry Patch in the background, and then we're going to tuck in little tiny strawberries and little images there to just kind of help fill the scene, kind of like what we did with the first card. Now that the scene is all filled in, we're going to be taking out those Henry's ABCs letters that we did the ink blending for earlier, and we're going to spell out the word berry. Now, something that's really great about Henry's ABCs is that it's sized to look really nice with our Scripty word dies. And so we are going to be taking out an oldie but a goodie, which is our Scripty Suite, and we're going to be die cutting that out of some Cilantro cardstock. Then once we have that Scripty Suite die cut, we can kind of see exactly how we're going to lay all of our letters onto the card. Once that placement is perfect, then we can add some tape runner to the back of the letters and permanently adhere them onto the card. We really wanted the word sweet to pop out, and a good way to do that with die cut words or letters is to create a shadow. So we're going to die cut sweet out of white, and we're going to layer that offset just a little bit behind that cilantro cardstock. And you'll see that once we do this, it just, I don't know what, it just adds this perfect, awesome look to it. And so when we layer that onto the card, now the word sweet is really going to pop up from our ink blended background. Next, to fill in the sky, we're going to take that adorable little bee from the set and layer 2 of them along with that trail. And I love the trail when it's die cut. It's so delicate. We're going to layer that up there above sweet to kind of help fill in the sky. And then we're going to use some stamps to help us finish our sentiment. So in the stamp set, there is a set that says "You are special." So we're going to take that stamp out and we're actually going to cut it in half because we only want the "You are." And you can do this with any of your stamps because you can fit them right back together and still stamp "You are special," or you can use the "You are" on its own like we're doing here. So we're going to stamp the "You are" and then "Berry Sweet," which is just so cute and fun. Now for the base of the card, which is going to be 3.5 by 8.5, we've cut some of the brand new Gotta Have Gingham rainbow paper, and we're going to layer that onto a slimline size card base. And then we can take our whole scene and add some tape runner behind that and layer that on there. And I love how the green gingham just makes the word sweet pop, and it makes all the green on the strawberry patch pop. It's so cute, so much fun. I love this card so much, Tammy. Oh my goodness, thank you for such a gorgeous design. Next up, Shari is going to create the cutest card with my favorite sentiment from the set, which is "You're Totally My Jam." So take it away, Shari.
On my card today, I'm using images from Berry Special, which I've already colored and cut out with the coordinating dies. And then I'm using some pattern paper to create the background for my card. I'm going to use that Spiffy Speckles pink, the strawberry frosting sheet, as well as this really pretty blue gingham from the Gotta Have Gingham Rainbow collection. I'm trimming that gingham down to a 2-inch strip. That's going to go along the bottom of my card. And I've gone ahead and I've cut down that 12 by 12 piece of that pink Spiffy Speckles to 4.25 by 5.5. And I'm going to go ahead and layer that onto a card base. This is going to be the background for my little images. And then the gingham is going to go across the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that along the bottom and then use my scissors to trim off the excess. For the sentiment on this card, I'm combining some stamped sentiment from the stamp set with some die cut letters from Henry's ABCs. So I've gone ahead and cut out a J, an A, and an M to spell out the word jam from Guava Cardstock, and this will be part of my sentiment. I'm just setting those aside, and I'm going to go ahead and arrange all my images. So I'm using that top edge of that gingham paper basically as the floor for all my images to sit on. And since the sentiment says "You're totally my jam," I thought it would be fun to create a little scene with a lot of jam jars. So I made a lot of jam jars. You're going to see me stack them up here in just a minute. I'm making a little scene on the right side with that cupcake on top of the jam jar and this cute little mouse eating a strawberry. And I'm just varying the height of these images by gluing some directly to the card base and then popping some up on foam squares. I'm using 2 different thicknesses of foam squares, so I have 2 different heights of my images. So like this jam jar, I put on a thin foam square, and then this one that's going to go right kind of in front of it, I'm putting on a thicker one. And I'm varying the heights on which I put these. I don't want them to be exactly straight across. I want it to have some interest and some height. Like this is a 3-dimensional scene that we're seeing here. So you can see I'm varying where these jam jars sit. I'm not going to stack them directly on top of each other because it's just more fun and dynamic if they're kind of offset. So this little guy in his overalls, I'm going to put him standing on that jam jar on the far left as if he's arranging his jam display in his store. I just think that's a fun kind of idea. And you can also see I changed up the jars a bit. I have that jam label on some, I stamped a heart on one, and others I left blank, and I also varied the colors so we have different flavors of jams and jellies. Once I have all these arranged, I'm going to work on my sentiment, and I'm using one of the sentiment banners. I'm going to cut that from some speckled egg cardstock, and then I'm stamping part of my sentiment on the left, and then I'm going to use the die cut letters to finish it out on the right. So I'm just laying these here on top just for placement, so I know how much room I need to leave on the right side for those die cut letters. I have the sentiment that says "You're totally my jam" on my block here, and I'm just inking up the first 3 words so that the die cut letters can finish off the sentiment. So I'll go ahead and layer this below my cute little images that I've put on here. And then I can glue my letters into place. I do want to go ahead and place them so I know where they're going to fall before I start gluing them down. And then I'm just gluing those directly to the card base with some liquid glue. I really do like this new alphabet set. I think it has a really fun font and it's very playful and works great with a lot of different designs. So once I have that sentiment on there, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of twine, and I picked this twine out because it's kind of rustic and it reminds me of like a jelly jar that you'd have like a pretty gingham fabric on top and then tied up with a string or a ribbon. So that's why I picked this particular twine to put on here, and I just thought it added some nice texture and some detail to this card. So I'm just wrapping that around below my images and above my sentiment, kind of on that line between my 2 papers. And then I wanted to fill sort of this empty space above. I have these nice speckles going on, but I always think it's fun to do some tone-on-tone stamping with images. So I'm using that pink on pink, and I'm going in with some ballet slipper ink, and I've used the strawberry. Now I'm using that little heart. I'm just kind of doing this around the top. I don't want to completely fill it, just sort of frame it up a little bit. Now I'm using that little flower that's in the stamp set. And then finally, I'm taking that little trail that goes with the bee, and I'm just sort of filling in a little bit. I just kind of like the very light dotted swirl that this gives. And then you can also use just the tail of it, not even the swirl. I'm just sort of figuring out where I want it to go, and then a lot of times I just use that curving tail. And then finally, I wanted to add a little bit of detail. So I'm going in with a really fine Copic multiliner, and I'm adding some little hatch marks to the top of my jelly jars. I just think this kind of gives it the look as if it's sort of that fabric top that we were talking about, or a burlap kind of look. So I added that to all my jars. And then I went in with a white gel pen and added some shine marks to the sides of the jars as well. So you can really change up the images a little bit just by adding some extra details. And then here is my finished card. I just think it is so adorable. I love those little mice, and I love this new gingham paper with those jelly jars.
Thank you so much for this adorable card, Shari. It is so cute, and I love the tone-on-tone stamping, and I can't wait to try something like this too. Next up, we have some gorgeous cards by the design team. And first up, this card by Elise is just so sweet. I love her stencil Cloudy Sky for her adorable little mice. Next up, we have a mini slimline card by Megan that is absolutely adorable. I love the gingham background she stamped for it too. This card by Maureen is so sweet. I love that bright bold green and how she used our slider maze die to create a cute scene for her little strawberry patch. Audrey is so clever, and she used some planter boxes from a new set called Garden Before and Afters and layered the strawberries right on top to help create a really cute scene for her mice. And then here is that card by Elena that inspired me to make mine today. And then here we have a little sneak at a brand new interactive die, and Grace has created the cutest little strawberry patch with these adorable little mice. And then this is the card by Tammy that inspired us to make ours too, and I just love these little mice on a slimline card. This card here by Elise was so sweet. I love how she used that strawberry patch to create a frame for her sentiment, which is absolutely adorable. I just love this card by Yanea. It's so cute, and that awesome splatter background is so gorgeous and perfect for this cute and sweet strawberry scene. And last but not least, we have this sweet card by Mindy, and I love how she used the stitched cloudy backdrop, the Henry's ABCs for her sentiment, and the How You Bean strawberries add-on to create a cool pile of strawberries for these adorable mice. So we cannot wait to see what you guys create with Berry Special, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!